Starcraft, Queen of Blades. Written by Aaron Rosenberg. Read by Dustin the Grim. Prologue.
The world went dark. Not just a darkened sky. No mere nightfall could produce such utter darkness. No. This was the dark of captivity, of confinement, of blindness. Nothing visible. No light, no shadow, only a smothering visual shroud. A stark contrast to the blinding lights and sudden bursts of color from just before. I struggle to make sense of my surroundings. Where am I? Nothing but darkness answers, and an instant later, a far larger question looms up, erasing the first. Who am I? A wave of panic rises deep within, bile carried along its edge, threatening to drown me as I realize I can't remember. I don't know where I am, or even who I am. Calm down, I tell myself. Calm down. I force the panic down, pushing it back by sheer will, refusing to let it envelop me. All right. What do you remember then? Nothing. No, wait. Brief flashes. A battle. A war. Horrific, horrible foes. Great monstrous beings surrounded me, dwarfing me. Betrayal. Though I can't recall the act itself, I can still taste the bitter realization of it. Abandonment. Desperation. A last frenzied struggle. The feel of sinewy flesh pinning me, choking me, killing me. The light fading around me as the numbness creeps in. And now this. Where am I? I stretch my senses to their limit, probing my surroundings. The results, though hazy and disjointed, form a single conclusion. I'm being carried. I can feel the movement, the gentle rocking motion. Not directly. Something cushions me, envelops me, and holds me all around. But that cushioning is moving, and me with it. I try to lash out, but my limbs will not cooperate. I feel sluggish, drained, drugged. Senses dulled, body leadened, but my nerves feel like they're on fire. I'm burning from within. My flesh crawls, creeps, melts, morphs. I have no control over my own form anymore. I'm changing. All around me, I can feel others shifting. They are not as confined as I am. They're free to move, though their minds are oddly blunted. They are my captors, conveying me to my confinement. I can hear their thoughts, slithering across me, through me. A part of me recoils, but another part, a newer part, welcomes their intrusion, vibrates in tune with their gibbering, allows the patterns to resonate through me, changing me further, bringing me closer to those waiting just beyond. The part that is still me, the old me, recoils in horror. I will not become one of these things. I must escape. I must be free. My body is captive, but my mind soars, reaching out for help, any help. I scream, desperate for anyone to hear. And far away, I know that my pleas have been heard. Help me!
Rubble lay everywhere. Evidence of a city in flames and a world in demise. Buildings had fallen, vehicles were crashed and crushed, and bodies littered the ground. A sign still stood near the edge of the destruction. Its scorched surface reading, "Welcome to." The name knew Gettysburg only a jagged hole with blackened edges. There were all manner of bodies, from the pale flesh of the Terrans, to the smooth hides of the Protoss, to the sinewy blades of the Zerg. People, those not yet dead and unable to evacuate, ran screaming, wailing for help. Some brandished weapons, crazed beyond rational thought, and desperate to defend themselves and their families. Others cowered, weeping, unable to face the end of their world. A few hid or ran, hoping to escape their fate. The swarm ignored them. It had a higher agenda. The battle had not gone as expected. The Terrans had put up a strong fight, but with fewer soldiers than anticipated. The Protoss, the hated Protoss, had appeared as always, gleaming in their battle suits and glowing in their arrogance, but had rapidly lost focus, dividing their attentions as if facing not one, but two opponents. In some places, the swarm had sighted Terrans battling Protoss. A strange, but welcome sight. Yes, it had been a strange battlefield, the sides constantly shifting, but that was for the Overmind to consider and to digest. For now, the conflict was over, and the battle won. The remaining Terrans posed little threat, and the Protoss had vanished once the outcome was clear. For some strange reason, they hadn't raised the planet, a fact which allowed the swarm to discover and claim a previously unexpected prize. Now, with their linked minds already turned from this conflict to those stretching out before them, the Zerg marshaled their forces and prepared for their victorious departure. One brood cleared a path, removing any obstructions, be it flesh, stone, or metal. A second brood followed close behind, its ranks protectively closed around its prize. Near the center, several Ultralisks moved in close formation, their backspikes almost touching. Between them were 4 Hydralisks, thick arms linked to support the large oblong they held. Through its rough, sticky shell, the cocoon pulsed with light, though its faint glow was lost amidst the fires and flares and explosions that had once been this city.
"Carefully, you fools!"
warned the brute Cerebrate, observing their progress through the Overlord floating just above the sphere. Because the Cerebrate itself couldn't move, the airborne Overlord served as its eyes, ears, and mouth.
"The chrysalis must not be harmed."
Obedient to their Cerebrate's will, the Ultralisks shifted slightly closer and slowed their pace, allowing more time for the brood before them to open the way. Their heavy feet crushed bone, metal, and wood without thought or pause as they lumbered on, shielding the chrysalis from attack.
"We have it, Master. We have your prize,"
the Cerebrate announced in the depths of its own mind.
"Excellent,"
the reply echoed from within, rising from the deep well of the Zerg hive mind.
"You must keep vigil over the chrysalis and ensure that no harm comes to the creature within it. Go now, young Cerebrate, and keep safe my prize."
Accepting the Overmind's orders as always, the Cerebrate redoubled its efforts, making sure its brood's defenses were secured. The chrysalis would be protected at any cost. On the Zerg marched, the city burning around them. At last the swarm had gathered itself within a vast crater where once the city's vaunted lake had stretched. Now the surface was glass smooth, seared by the force of the Protoss's landing ships, and unmarred by the heavy feet that had trekked across toward the city under siege.
"We are ready, Master,"
the Cerebrate declared, arraying its brood around the chrysalis.
"I am well pleased, young Cerebrate,"
the Overmind answered, the warm glow of its benediction washing over the Cerebrate, and through it, all the members of its swarm.
"And so long as my prize remains intact, I shall remain pleased. Thus, its life and yours shall be made as one. As it prospers, so shall you. For you are a part of the swarm. If ever your flesh should fail, that flesh shall be made anew. That is my covenant with all Cerebrates."
As the cerebrate swelled with pride, a great darkness descended upon the crater, a shadow of the mass that drifted into view high above them. Beyond the upper reaches of the planet's dying atmosphere hung a massive storm, a swirl of orange and violet gases that spun around strange flickering lights. They moved faster and faster, the colors merging in their fury until the center of the storm collapsed in upon itself, light and color giving way to a shadowy circle far darker than even the space hovering beyond.
Now you have grown strong enough to bear the rigors of warp travel with the swarm,
the Overmind stated, its words sending a thrum of power through the swarm.
Thus we shall make our exit from this blasted world and secure the chrysalis within the hive cluster upon the planet Char.
As one, the first brood rose, soaring high above the ruined city. They broke free of the planet's weak, fading grasp and approached the storm above, pulling into that yawning, beckoning darkness at its center, and vanished. The cerebrate felt their transit through the hive-mind link all Zerg shared and allowed a spark of contentment to linger within its own mind. Then the Overmind summited as well, and the cerebrate called its brood together, linking them tightly for travel through the warp. They rose from the crater, letting the power of the swarm fill them as they ascended, and soon the darkness had drowned out all thought, all sense as it carried them across the vastness of space to their destination. And within the chrysalis, faintly visible through its thick skin and viscous contents, a body writhed in pain. Though not conscious, the figure within shifted, stirred, and unable to lie still as the Zerg virus penetrated every cell, changing DNA to match their own. Soon the chrysalis would open, and the new Zerg would emerge. All of the swarm exulted with the Overmind. And as they departed, and Tarsanus died behind them, the mind trapped within the chrysalis screamed.